This is KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guests today are from the upcoming production of The Odd Couple, the female version, at RHCR Theater. Say hi to Jennifer, Stephanie, and Kimberli. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Glad to have you all here. Kimberli, you're the director.
Yep.
And we have Olive and Florence. And for those who are familiar with The Odd Couple, the first version with the man Oliver and Felix, but in the female version, it's Olive and Florence. And Jennifer, you're Olive.
Yes.
And that makes Stephanie, by process of elimination, that
Yes.
makes you Florence.
That's right.
So, Kimberli, let's start with you. Let's talk first about how the play came about. It's been around since the 80s. And, Neil Diamond, he just went back in and said it would be fun to tell this story with female leads instead of male.
Yeah, when Neil Simon originally wrote it for the men, it was a great success, and he went on to find the female answer to this plot in 1985, and that seemed to go over very well. It's a totally different show, but it's still the same show, where instead of getting together to play poker, the girls are getting together to play Trivial Pursuit and a couple other things that kind of mirror the original.
Do you have any idea how many of kind of the, some of the original lines or scenes or set pieces stay, or is it really just top to bottom brand new with different characters?
In a lot of ways, it's brand new because of the period that it was set in. So being the 80s, of course, the costume, the hair, everything is going to be different. The setting itself, but the plot is very, very similar, as well as the neighbors upstairs that were the Pigeon sisters. In the original, we have the Costazuela brothers from they're Castilian Spanish brothers that live upstairs. And and the friends are, of course, all girlfriends, and it's just really fun. I like the way that it has stayed the same feel, with the difference between the two characters, the two main characters. But this one, I think, incorporates a little bit more of the friendships that revolve around that game table. So I think that if there was a major difference, besides the fact it's female and male, it's the relationships around that game table are kind of cool to see.
Because the original, and as I was telling you off the air, I've done The Odd Couple. I'm very familiar with it. So, but it's very combative, and you kind of expect there to show the relationship between the characters, and particularly Felix and Oscar, way more than you're expecting it. It never really happens.
Yeah,
not very much at all, but different now. But before we dive into characters, we got to talk costumes, because the play came out in 1985, and I understand you're keeping it in that period.
Yes.
So tell me about the costumes, the hair, the dresses, all of it.
So when we had our costume designer, Melanie, come in and say, I found a lot of 80s stuff, we're going to try it on. We put our costumes on, and I just remember looking at Stephanie and going, this is hideously fabulous. I love this.
Awesome.
This dress is terrible, but it's so 80s that I love it. And
so much hairspray and so much makeup. It was great. We were thrown back to the 80s right away. We got on that stage, and it was amazing. You're all just
it was
so hair in particular. I'm guessing that neither of you had ever done that level of hairstyling ever, probably.
Oh, no, never.
Well, no.
I didn't.
Yeah, okay, Stephanie's saying, yeah.
Actually,
Yeah,
no.
Stephanie.
I had to get a lot of instruction from Kimberli, and then as soon as she did, I was like, wow, this is amazing.
No, it was so much fun actually going back, and we're going to get to do that on stage for a lot of people. So they're going to get to enjoy all of that 80s funness with us again. So
I think we're going to get some laughs just from costumes alone.
Oh
when we come on stage,
yes.
I think.
Probably more costume changes in this show too than the original version of The Odd Couple, which it seems to me that I don't think there were any costume changes in there.
Yeah, there's quite a few costume changes, so the audience is going to get to see quite a few throwbacks. So it's exciting.
Yeah.
So the main characters of Olive and Florence, do they track fairly well with the Oscar and Felix that we remember, where Olive is is kind of a slob and Florence is real fastidious, and that's kind of where the comedy happens. How familiar were the two of you with, the Odd Couple play, TV show, movie, any of that? Did you have any exposure to it?
I hadn't had much. I know of the TV show because I know my parents and grandparents would talk about it. I've seen the show on stage once and did some research on it, and that's about my experience with it.
Stephanie, how about you?
Myself, I saw a couple of episodes when I was younger, but I actually did the show previously. So I was Sylvie.
Okay.
In the show about, 10 years ago. So I've been in the show before. So I thought, I'm going to try out for it again. And I got Florence. So I was like, wow, this is so exciting. So, I was really excited to be a part of it again.
So tell me a little bit about how you think of your character, similar and different to, the other Florences you've seen, or, and of course to the Felix character that a lot of us know from The Odd Couple.
Well, my other Florence, the one you played with before, was much taller than I was. So she was like 6 feet tall, and I am much shorter. So it was interesting to see her play Florence and to have me play Florence. Her character had an advantage as far as comedy. I have to take advantage of my shortness as far as comedy, and my big eyes as far as comedy. But
very big eyes.
Yes, very big eyes.
Yes, love it.
But I really love playing Florence. It's fun, I get a chance to be neurotic, and it gives me something more to do that Sylvie wasn't able to offer. So it's a really fun part. It's great. I like it.
Tell me what you like about Olive.
I like that she doesn't care. Because in my life, there are some aspects where you're caring for someone, or you're caring what people think of you. And it's not that she doesn't care to be in a mean or vindictive way. It's just that she has other priorities. Her job is very important to her. Her friends are very important to her. And all these other things can just be pushed aside for a while until, this gets taken care of. And I just like that, hey, if you don't like that about me, then you don't have to be with me. I just like her attitude about that.
Kimberli, getting ready to bring this show to the stage, were there any particular challenges that you saw coming, or maybe that surprised you as you read through the script again and then started getting ready to put it together?
Well, initially it was casting, because there were so many different possible combinations of people that could have worked together. But as soon as I saw a couple, when I saw these two read together, I was like, oh gosh. I mean, there they are. So that challenge was solved pretty quickly. And then I saw other people kind of settle into that. So those auditions initially and the initial casting were difficult. The space at RHCR is a very interesting space. It's a really cool, intimate space. And the way that I've kind of chosen to present this show is a little non-traditional. And so putting that part together and the placement of the stage, that we have a very interesting kind of way that we've been putting that together. So that we can maximize the viewer's experience, so the audience experience. So those were probably the two biggest challenges that I've faced so far. And as far as surprises go, I mean, there's something every day, that changes a little bit. We're like, oh yeah, how are we going to have, a live outlet on a stage that doesn't have a live outlet? How are we going to build this? But luckily, there's tech people that are much smarter than I am on that, and they take over and run with that.
A lot of physicality.
Yes.
In the show, any bumps or bruises? So far, no injuries on set.
Nothing that can't be handled.
Right. I mean, we may bump into furniture a little bit, but we're getting better at not doing that.
We haven't fallen down all the way.
No, not yet.
Do you have a favorite moment in the show right now, either of you? Yeah, Stephanie. Yeah. Stephanie, you nodded right away. So.
Yeah, There's a part when all of us are engaged and we have to all pull together. And there's a moment where I have to do a wrestling move where I have to like actually do like a fake like wrestling kind of move here.
WWF.
And,
Yeah.
and it's pretty at least for me. It's intense where I had to learn it, and I'm still perfecting it. So
Jennifer?
I think mine is the end where Olive just finally lets everything out of all the little intricacies that Florence is doing and just lets it go. Because you don't usually get to do that. Just have that big, like, I'm so sick of what you're doing, and just let it all out. And you don't normally get to do that every day. And I get to do that on stage with her and just let her have it. And it's fun.
The play is The Odd Couple, running 2 weekends at RHCR Theater, opening
October 18th and running for 2 weekends.
And if people want tickets, they can visit the RHCR Theater website, which is
RHCRtheater.com.
All right. Well, thanks so much for being here. Break a leg. Don't break a leg. Please don't break
Right.
don't break legs, but have fun.
thank you. Thank you so much.
You can hear the Culture Crawl live on the radio most Thursdays and Fridays at 10:20, or download the podcast, watch or listen on your own schedule using your favorite podcast app or at kcck.org/culture. I'm Dennis Green.